Hi guys, Be Kind Honey and Wax here. If this is your first time on my channel, which will be the case for most of you as this is only my second video, I'm Asa. I've only just started my own beekeeping journey. It's something I would never in a million years thought I would do, as my biggest phobia in life was bees. So much so, for example, I was in a lorry, I was the passenger, and we were doing 50 on the motorway and a bee came in and it landed on the seat next to me. I screamed at the driver, pull over now. And he said, I can't, we're on the motorway. What do you expect me to do? I took my seatbelt off, I opened the passenger door to the lorry and I said, I am going to jump. If you do not pull this lorry over now, I am jumping. Which to that, obviously, he stopped. I don't know why I was so scared of bees. Because I know getting stung is going to hurt a lot less than jumping out of a lorry doing 50 miles an hour on the motorway. So I don't think it was a bit scared of being stung. I'm not too sure why I was scared of them. But that was my biggest fear. Also, all of my nightmares throughout my life, even my adult life, have been about bees. Some of them have even been people telling me not to move away, and the bee will go away, and then I stand there, then all of a sudden I'm getting chased by a swarm, and then I wake up. So yeah, never thought beekeeping would be something for me. But what happened was I did come across a couple of beekeepers one day at work. I started talking to them. They was telling me about the bees. It sounded really interesting. I've always loved animals, insects. I'm always taking the kids out to find caterpillars. We watch them cocoon into butterflies. I've pulled out spiders and worms so that they don't grow up with fears of them. I love it all. So I went home, I'd done some research, learned what I could find about honeybees, and now I'm here. I have my own bees, and this process started maybe 3 weeks ago, so it's still very new to me. Don't get me wrong, I didn't just go and buy a hive with a phobia of a phobia of bees, run out, catch a swarm, on the risk that I'd be terrified and the bees would be abandoned. I did not do that. I did join my local bee association, and I've done two days with them now, 2 weekends, and I've gone in and inspected their hives with them. I just threw myself in the deep end. I explained to them my phobia of bees. They asked if I wanted to watch from the background a little bit. And I said, no, just throw me in the deep end. I went in, I opened up the hive, and I done it. Now, even then, that I managed to calm myself, get myself over my fear of bees, I was still like, there's no way I'm taking my gloves off. There's no way I'm not wearing these really long gauntlet leather gloves. And doing this. But saying that, as you'll see in this video, I take my gloves off because it did get too hot. I realised that these bees here were not bothered by me. They left me alone. I do apologise about my phone keep going off. So I do take my gloves off. I took my head foul off, which you will see later on in the video when it gets to it. which was the last thing I ever thought I would do. But if you are interested in starting beekeeping, you can ask me questions in the comments. I will try my best. As I've told you, I've only been learning about it for 3 weeks. I've only just got my first lot of bees, but I have done a lot of research. If I can help you, I will. But I would suggest watching YouTube videos. I found them so helpful, being a new beekeeper. I watched the Honeystead and I watched Barnyard Bees. I feel like their content is really good for a new beekeeper. I have recently come across Black Mountain Honey, which also seems to be quite good so far. I haven't watched many videos, but from what I've seen, is quite knowledgeable. I will add the links to these channels in my description once I work out how to do it. I'm still getting used to YouTube and how it works, and it's taken me forever to work out even how to talk over this video, because where I had the customers here, where I was collecting the swarm from their garden, I was able to record, but I wasn't able to do it with talking, because obviously I was conversating with them and it'd be a bit rude. So I've sat here and worked out how to mute the sound, talk over it, put it all together. If anyone has any tips for YouTube videos, please also comment. Any help is appreciated, because I do not know what I am doing in the slightest. So my last video, it showed that I had found somewhere to host my bees, because I don't have the space myself. And I said hopefully my next video will be me catching a swarm, which, as you can see so far, this is me catching a swarm. The next day, after finding somewhere to place my hive, I started to build a bee transporting box, because I couldn't work out how was I going to get a swarm of bees from one place to another, and I've got no equipment. So luckily someone was throwing out an old chest of drawers. I started building a sort of a nuke style box, nuke hive style, literally just for transportation. Then I got a phone call. So it hadn't even been 24 hours since I'd found where to put my bees that I got a phone call for my first swarm. So I wasn't ready. I had partly built my box. I had 4 sides. It fitted the frames in nicely. And it had no bottom, no top, no access for the bees to get in and out. So I panicked. I was nervous anyway, because this is my first time being around bees on my own without a professional with me. It's my first time experiencing a swarm. I had all these thoughts going through my head. I was worried about how I'm going to get the bees to my hive. I quickly sawed an entrance. I made a little door. But where I was rushing, I accidentally put it on top of the hive rather at the bottom, so that the door, when it's shut, is down on the floor. So I did mess up. I taped some cardboard for a floor, and I took some cardboard with me so that I could tape it over the top as a roof, just so that I can get these bees there. And then obviously I will finish building that once I'm finished with that nuke. I can then finish building it to how I want it. Obviously I'm going to have to make some changes now to my design, because I now have an entrance at the top rather than the bottom. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So anyway, I arrived here. As you can see, I put down a blanket. I learnt this from YouTube. It's always best to use a white blanket if you can. Reason being is once you shake the bees, you don't know where the queen is, unless obviously you're very lucky. You go and look at the hive and the queen's there, you can see her, you can catch her, then it's all good. But that's not always the case. So if you put down the white sheet, once the bees fall, the ones that don't fall into the box, they're easy to spot. You can look on that white blanket and you can look for the queen. As you can see, lots of times I'm checking and I'm checking. I could not find the queen. I don't know if she was in the box. The bees were crawling up. They were going into the hive. This is me when I took all my gear off. So yeah, I'm hoping the queen's in there. I haven't seen her yet. But I suppose time will tell. But anyway, make sure you subscribe and like this video. Anything will help. I've only got 1 subscriber so far and 10 views on my last video. So hopefully by this rate next year I'll have 50 views and 50 subscribers. Now this was the next day. This is me transporting them, after I've transported them from the nuke style box into my hive. Nothing went as planned on this. The bees, I had to keep them in my garden last night because by the time I'd finished collecting the swarm, it got too dark. I wouldn't have been able to find my hive through all them bushes and everything. So I kept them in the garden. The bees managed to chew through the cardboard. They got out. I had to try and get them back in, transporting them from my house to where my hive is. They was all flying around the car. Again, transporting the frames from the nuke into the hive. I had a quick look for the queen. Again, I couldn't find her. I have heard that there's quite a lot of swarms this year so far that have been queenless. I'm hoping that isn't the case, because obviously I don't have another hive to make an emergency queen, and I will have to try and source one from somewhere. But we'll find that out on Monday when I go back and do a proper inspection. Now I don't know if anyone that's more experienced can help me out with this. The bees started to come out. They was cleaning the hive, as you could see there just before. They was pulling out bits of debris from the tree from the person's garden that had fallen into the box. But then they started coming out. Some were flying. A lot of them were gathered around the entrance. I don't know whether they're thinking of leaving. I don't want to check them before Monday because I don't want to disturb them too much and make them fly away. So yeah, I don't know if they was looking at the area and scouting around at their new home, or whether they was looking at flying away. But I'm hoping, because they was cleaning it out, they're not going to fly away. Fingers crossed they stay with me. This will be my first bunch of bees. You saw me with no protective gear on. They're so friendly. Even after all that shaking and disturbing, none of them bothered me at all. None of them bumped into me. None of them tried to sting me. So I'm really hoping that they stay with me, because these, I think, will be a great colony with me getting over my fears. Because as you can see, I've made a lot of progress, but there is times where I do jump a little sometimes, and I know that will come naturally in time. But if you do understand their behaviours, please let me know. Thank you.